saying no at work can be very uncomfortable at times. On the other side, when you say yes, it's also not healthy. Saying yes to everything is equally unhealthy, right? Most people face difficulty in saying no because they feel guilty from within, or they feel as if they are not contributing to the team. But on the contrary, when you say yes and get overwhelmed or overworked with so much work for you, you're anyways not going to be able to produce good results. Think about it. When you say no to one option. But when you say yes, you're saying no to every other option. No is a decision, while yes is a responsibility. Think about it. So today we are going to talk about that only. How to say no at work politely and effectively. Hi friends, I'm Swati ARORA. I'm a woman career growth coach and I'm on a mission to help millions of women scale up the ladder and reach leadership positions in their organizations. And today's topic is equally critical because most of us end up saying yes all the time and overwork ourselves. In the bargain, we are not able to complete our own task. So how do we say no effectively, politely, and still manage to handle relationships at workplace is a very critical art to understand and learn. That's exactly what I'm going to share with you today. So stay with me right till the end of this video and take notes as well, because you're going to make some changes in your own lifestyle, in the way you think, in the way you talk to people when you start saying no. And you know the drill. Before we go ahead, click on the subscribe button so that you can access all my videos right up front. Before we go ahead and see how to say no politely, why is it so important to say a no politely and effectively, especially at a workplace? Is because genuinely, intuitively, we don't like to say no. We don't want to disappoint people around us, especially your co-workers or your boss or your supervisors. You wouldn't want to turn a request down because you feel that the relationship will be hampered. But sometimes when you're so worked up, when you're so overwhelmed with so much work to do, it'll abruptly come out of your face if you've really not given a second thought about it. And that can actually jeopardize your relationship. So it's very important to learn the art of saying no in a nice, polite, professional manner so that you're actually putting across very clearly the reason for your saying no to your subordinates, to your boss or whoever it is, and such that the relationship is also intact. They also understand how much you're having on your plate, and that's exactly how you'll be able to communicate that very effectively to them. So it's very important to learn the proper way or technique of saying no. Otherwise, you'll only end up inviting a lot of trouble for yourself. So let's get started with the how do we say no in a polite and seamless manner at our workplace. First thing is assess the request or check the request. First thing first is assess or evaluate the request. Don't just jump to conclusion and just say no because you have to say no. When you assess the request, how do you do that? Ask questions. Questions like, what are the deadlines? By when this task needs to be completed? How important is this opportunity? Who is it for? Who's this opportunity? Where is this opportunity coming from? Or the request coming from? The source of the request. The next thing is, what is your job going to be in that particular request? How are you involved? Whether you're supposed to do it yourself or supposed to get it done by someone. So, when you ask all these questions, you're gauging what's the importance of that particular request, and then you can take a call whether you should take that or you should turn it down. It'll help you, assessing will help you in two ways. One is that the opposite person who's come with a request to you will have an opportunity to understand that yes, he or she is showing genuine interest in helping me rather than just turning me down. So you showing a genuine interest by asking these questions that whether or not this task should be taken. The second is, it might be something of your importance which could benefit you in the future. For example, if the source of that request has come from a very supreme authority in your organization, you would definitely want to take that task, right? Because you want to be in the good books of that person who is in the senior authority. Or maybe you feel that if you do this task, you may get a new project from that particular source. So you may want to do some adjustments in your current role and take that request, right? So when you ask these questions, when you assess the opportunity or the request that has come to you, you will be then able to decide very, very thoroughly whether or not that task should be taken in hand. The next point is know your priorities and communicate also. Now, when you know your priorities, knowing your priorities means that when you know you have certain tasks in hand. And that's exactly why I always say that scheduling is very important. When you know that you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things to be done, which are already in your plate, you know that you don't have room for anything else, you will definitely be able to turn it down. Or you can give a genuine reason or an answer why you're turning it down. But when you don't know that you have certain responsibilities already, it's just randomly happening throughout the day, that's when you're going to be stuck. So when you have priorities set, when you know that your urgent and important tasks are supposed to be done today and you already have time slotted out for them, chalked out for them, you are not able to take anything more in your kitty at that point in time. That's when you have to clearly have a communication with your counterparts or your boss or whoever has made that request to you, and you have to explain to them what's the reason why you're turning down that request. And then maybe you can also help them equate why you're prioritizing those things over this new task which has come, kind of looking at the return of investment for your time towards the company. You can probably do that kind of discussion as well. In this way, what will happen is when you communicate what your priorities are to your counterparts or whoever has requested, that will actually help them to see things from your perspective and not just think that you're giving a lame excuse or trying to just be lazy. They will then learn to understand that, okay, you're giving a very, very fair reason as to why you're not taking that task right now. The next point is bring up an alternative solution or maybe a different way to look at the problem. For example, that rather than directly saying no to a situation or a request which has come to you, you can probably look at an alternative solution. Can I do this maybe tomorrow or to the next week or the week after? Can this be postponed for a later date? Or does it require my involvement only? Can it be done by someone else? Maybe you can suggest a few other people within your team or someone who could, who has the same competency as you. Maybe you can do that as well. When you're showing alternatives or suggestions, what's happening is you're again showing a genuine interest in helping out the person. Maybe the person has not really thought through that option at all, and your providing solution can help that person to kind of complete that task. So when you're doing that, you'll be able to then look at whether it has to be postponed for a later date. If you really have to do it only, you can postpone it for a later date when you have less task in your hand. Or maybe that task can be partially be done by you and partially be done by someone else whom you can recommend for that particular task. So bring out with, kind of brainstorm and come up with certain alternatives or certain solutions for the request that has come to you rather than turning it down completely. The next point is when you have to say no is maybe look at empowering people or teaching people on the task that probably they are not aware of. Now, a lot of times what happens is that people come to ask for a particular task or for some work because they are not acquainted or well acquainted on that particular task, or they are not trained well enough to actually complete that task. And they feel that if they come to you, you are such a pro in that and you'll be able to quickly do that within a fraction of a minute or maybe within lesser time than how much they take. And that's probably why people kind of pile on all the work at you. Now, if you think about on the other side, if you think about empowering people and teaching people or training people on that particular task, on how effectively you're doing it, if you can groom 10 other people to kind of do the same task, what will happen is you're only shedding off your workload as well, and you're also enabling people. So you're actually building a culture of more empowerment and more trust within the organization. And that's going to be very, very conducive for your organization, for your bosses, for your support system as well. They will really love that. So again, how do you communicate this is if someone is coming to you again and again for a particular task, maybe someone's coming to you again and again for a particular report or a dashboard, what you could very politely say is, last time I taught you, I did that task for you. What I will do now is I will teach you how to do this task. I will take some time and train you on this particular dashboard. And why don't you try it out in front of me so that, you can kind of learn it better and do it yourself next time. That way you're empowering a person to do the task and not be dependent on you all the time for that particular task. And now sharing with you the most critical point of how to say no, which is practicing the conversation. Now, a lot of times people don't understand or realize the importance of how to say no. No saying is not a problem, but the way you say it really comes out, on how it manages your relationship. If you're able to communicate the same thing empathetically, politely, positively, it will really not bother your relationship or really not do any harm to you as well. So there's a very fantastic, amazing technique that I generally use, which is called the service sandwich technique. You start with a positive note, you put your sandwich no, which is the reason for your no, in the middle, and then you close it with a solution, right? That's called the service sandwich technique. I'll give you a few examples. For example, if some colleague comes to you and tells you, hey, can you help me out with this report? It's really bothering me. I'm not able to complete it. You could say to her or him that, hey, I would love to do that. I would love to help you out with your report. But you know what? I'm myself swamped with a lot of work and I have to complete and submit this report to the boss by today evening. What I can do for you is I can help you do this task tomorrow first thing and we can complete it by midday for you. How does that sound to you? So, that's like a service sandwich technique. You're starting with positive, you're putting your no with a reason in the middle, and then you're ending with a solution as well, an alternative as well. Let me give you another example. For example, a colleague comes to you or your team members come to you and ask you out for a team party or maybe a team outing, and you can't make it because you have work at home or some other assignments or commitments at home. So what you can do is you can just say, well, that sounds really fun because I really would love to join you guys, but you know what, I have a lot of work at home and have certain commitments already which I've made. What I can do for you is maybe next time whenever you plan, let me know in advance. I will surely make it that time. How does that sound? So that's the way you can actually communicate your no in a very crisp and a very polite way without jeopardizing your relationship as well. So try this service sandwich technique. Practice it a lot for every conversation, because when you practice it, as much as you practice it, it'll come out very impromptu, very naturally when you have to say no to anyone. So friends, those were the tips on how you can say no politely and effectively at work and also manage your relationships to be intact. I hope this video was beneficial for you. I hope you will practice these techniques and follow them as well in real life at your workplace. Do let me know which of these points were beneficial for you and which of these you have followed at your workplace. I will wait for your comments in the comment section, and I will come back next time with some more interesting videos. Till such time, you do take care of yourself. Keep rising and shining. Bye-bye.